My sister said it with a smirk, raising her glass across the Christmas dinner table. The room went quiet. Forks paused midair. My parents watched me the way people watch a fuse burn toward dynamite. "You wouldn't survive a week without us," she added. "Everything you have comes from this family." I didn't argue. I simply reached into my pocket and placed the house keys on the table. The metal clink echoed louder than her voice ever had. No one understood what that sound meant. Not yet. It wasn't always like this. Years ago, when my father started the logistics company, it was just the three of us running around a cramped warehouse. Dad handled clients. My sister handled numbers. And I built everything else: systems, contracts, supplier networks, the entire digital infrastructure. They like to call it the family empire. I called it unfinished work. For a long time, I believed we were building something together. Late nights turned into early mornings. Cold pizza dinners on dusty desks. Dad used to slap my shoulder and say, "One day this will all be yours to run." Back then, my sister used to laugh and say we'd run it together. Back then, she meant it. Or at least, I thought she did. The change didn't happen overnight. It was small things first. Meetings I wasn't invited to. Accounts I suddenly didn't have access to. Conversations that stopped the moment I walked into the room. At first, I told myself it was stress. Companies grow, structures change, but patterns don't lie. Then came the first real crack. One evening, I logged into the server remotely and noticed something strange. Administrative permissions had been reassigned. My name was gone. My sister's name replaced it. No discussion. No warning. Just quiet removal. I stared at the screen for a long time. Not angry. Just curious, because systems don't change themselves. People change them. The proof came 2 weeks later. Dad left his office door slightly open during a call. I wasn't eavesdropping. I was walking past. But some sentences don't ask permission before they reach your ears. "Don't worry," my sister was saying to someone on speaker. "He doesn't understand the legal structure anyway." A pause. Then Dad's voice. "We'll phase him out after the new year." Phase him out. Like outdated software. Like a problem that needed deleting. I kept walking. They never noticed. That night, I didn't confront them. I did something far more useful. I checked the contracts. You see, while my sister handled accounting, I handled infrastructure. And infrastructure owns everything. Server architecture, vendor access, automation pipelines, licensing agreements. They thought they owned the company. But legally, most of the operational systems were registered under my development entity. A precaution I had built years earlier, just in case investors ever tried to squeeze us. Funny how the same protection works against family. The planning took 3 months. I didn't rush. Revenge is sloppy when it's emotional. I prefer precision. First, I transferred key service licenses away from the company's main billing account. Perfectly legal. Then I scheduled contract renewals. Under my name. Quietly. No alarms. No red flags. Next came the vendors. Transport routing software. Inventory databases. Automated shipping labels. Every piece of technology their operation depended on. All linked to systems I controlled. Not the company. Me. By the time Christmas arrived, the entire empire was running on infrastructure they didn't own. They just didn't know it yet. So when my sister smirked across that dinner table and dared me to leave, I almost thanked her, because she gave me the perfect stage. The keys on the table weren't surrender. They were the final move. I walked out that night with nothing. No luggage. No speeches. Just silence. For the first time in years, I slept peacefully. The collapse started at 8:12 the next morning. My phone buzzed. Missed call. Then another. Then 10 more. By noon, there were 66 missed calls. My sister. Dad. The office manager. The logistics coordinator. Even clients. I made coffee before checking voicemail. The first message was my sister's voice. Panicked. "The servers are down. We can't process shipments." Next message. "Why are vendors saying contracts expired?" Then Dad. Angry at first. Then desperate. "Call me back. We need access to the systems." Need. Funny word. By evening, they showed up at my apartment. I opened the door slowly. My sister looked different. Not confident. Not smug. Just scared. "What did you do?" she asked. I stepped aside and let them in. Then I handed her a single folder. Inside were copies of every system license, infrastructure contract, and operational agreement. all registered under my entity. I watched the realization spread across her face. Slow, heavy, devastating. You said I wouldn't survive a week, I reminded her quietly. She stared at the papers. But the company was never the building, I interrupted. It was the systems. Dad sank into the chair like gravity had doubled. You shut us down? I shook my head. No, I simply stopped supporting something that doesn't belong to me anymore. Silence filled the room. For the first time in years, they had nothing to say. A week later, the company filed for emergency restructuring. Without the infrastructure, their entire operation collapsed. Contracts dissolved. Clients moved on. The empire vanished faster than it was built. I didn't celebrate. Revenge isn't fireworks. It's quiet. Clean. Precise. Sometimes I think about that moment at the Christmas table. The clink of those keys hitting the wood. They thought it meant I was leaving with nothing. But the truth was much simpler. I didn't leave their empire. I took mine back.